Hey, this is Heidi Dawson. If you love all things health and wellness and style of any kind, hang out here with me each week. I'm obsessed with never-ending improvement, and it's all in an effort to help each one of us live a wildly successful lifestyle. Subscribe today so you don't miss a thing. Hi, guys. Welcome to episode 512 of the Wildly Successful Lifestyle Podcast. Thanks for hanging out with me today. There's millions of podcasts out there. I know that. And you've chosen this one. And for that, I am honored. So thank you. All right. Have you ever said yes to something or someone when you really wanted to say no? And then you kind of resented the person for it. Or maybe you said no to someone or something and then you feel guilty about it. And so you're kind of considering changing your mind so that they don't feel bad. Maybe, like me, a lot of times you feel like other people's happiness or lack thereof is somehow your responsibility. I used to be really bad about that. It's just been in the last few years that I have started being okay with letting other people be responsible for their feelings and then also taking full responsibility for mine. I talked about this in a podcast recently that my older sister stayed with us for a week around Christmas time, and she doesn't celebrate Christmas. So I worried for a while before she came that she might be offended. But then I realized, hey, she's an adult and she can handle her own feelings. I'm not responsible for those. I have to handle mine though too. And yes, it's awkward for me when we have Christmas up in our house, but also I'm able to handle that. No one died of awkwardness. The other thing that we tend to feel is guilt. There have been times where I have said no to an invite and I know the other person's disappointed and I'll fret over that for days. Why do I do that? Now, I asked myself that question recently, and of course, as it often does, the universe popped a meditation practice just for me. It was really applicable. I had been thinking about that question, and Jeff Warren had a meditation on the Calm app that I was doing, and it was all about boundaries. And in it, he mentioned how he said yes to do something when he wanted to say no, and now he's all grumpy about it. And then he also said no to something else, and he felt guilty about it. And I thought, welcome to my world. But during that meditation, he said how oftentimes people just can't handle the feeling of guilt. And that's why they say yes to so many things. And that's why they overcommit to or avoid ever saying no, is because they're so afraid of feeling guilty. Now, if you're a people pleaser or a wannabe recovering people pleaser, like I call myself sometimes, it's like you can't win. I mean, when you say yes, you feel bad because you didn't honor your own preference. But when you say no, you also feel bad because now you feel guilty about possibly hurting someone else's feelings. It can be kind of maddening. But in reality, I don't get to control other people. I only control me and my stuff. The other people have to manage their own stuff. It's when you try managing everyone that things get a little bit hairy. Now, I recently had several people for a dinner party, lots of different personalities, as always when you get a lot of people together. So on top of cooking, here I am trying to make sure that this person feels included and this person doesn't say something that offends the other person. And some people love dogs and others don't. So I'm also trying to herd the dogs because my house is always dog welcome. They're always welcome at my house. I love dogs so much, and everyone knows that. But me trying to manage everyone's feelings was causing a lot of anxiety for myself. And I was feeling a lot of stress when my sweet, adorable niece, she's newly 18 and she's so wise. And she came up and she said, I can see that you seem a little stressed. Is there anything that I can help you with? And I thought I had been doing a good job of hiding my anxiety, but apparently I was not. And I realized in an effort to make sure that everyone was comfortable, I was obviously stressed, which was doing the opposite of helping everyone feel comfortable. So I said, okay, you know what? You're right. I'm just going to focus on everyone enjoying everyone myself and not controlling them. And as soon as I calmed down and stopped trying to control the situation, weirdly, so did everything else. Without knowing it, my energy was sort of affecting the energy of the room. It was a pretty valuable lesson. When I stopped trying to manage everyone and just relaxed and had a good time, things got calmer. Now, maybe it was just because I was creating the stress in my head, because it didn't seem like anything outside of me changed. Everybody was still doing the same things, but a lot inside of me changed. I let others be responsible for their own good time and just made sure I was a good hostess. I took responsibility for me and let others took responsibility for themselves as well. I mean, that's the reason a lot of us have trouble saying no, or why we feel stressed in certain situations is we're so worried someone else is going to feel a certain way that we try to overcompensate, which just ends up making it all worse. And we don't even realize it. Oftentimes we want everyone to act or be a certain way, and so we're trying to pull all of these strings. Or maybe it's just one person who you're trying to manage so that you can feel the way you want to feel. It's a fool's game because you never win. It's not and never will be your job to see that other people are always happy or always having a good time or never feel left out or have everything they need. But sometimes we still feel like it is. I know sometimes I still feel responsible for that. And I know that about myself, so I actively work on it. I've been reading a book lately. I'm almost finished with it. My friend Lena and I have been reading this together. It's called Boundaries by Doctors Henry Cloud and John Townsend. In this book, it's really good. It has a lot of religious in it. They quote the Bible quite a bit, so I don't know if you like that or not, but it's really, really good. So in the book, they tell a story of a girl named Tina. Now, Tina resented her husband's coming home 45 minutes late to dinner every single night. I mean, it was causing a lot of problems for her. She had a hard time keeping the food hot. The kids were hungry and crabby, and their evening study schedule was thrown off. But things completely changed when she began serving dinner on time with or without her husband. She set that boundary. So when he came home late, he came home to refrigerated leftovers that he had to reheat and eat alone. And after 3 or 4 times of that happening, it prompted him to tear himself away from work earlier so that he was on time. So Tina set a boundary, which was eating with the kids on time, which kept her from feeling victimized and violated. And she got her needs and the kids' needs met, and she didn't feel angry and resentful anymore. She just took matters into her own hands. She took responsibility for her feelings and let him take responsibility for his. Now, when I first was reading that story, as they were telling it, I kind of felt for her. Like, I was like, well, of course she would be mad. Who wouldn't be? I mean, he's not respecting her and the family. But then as I read on, I realized that she has her wants, which was to eat on time and have the family on a schedule. And he had his wants, which was to have dinner on the table and his family waiting for him whenever he got home. So even in marriages, we aren't responsible for the other person. So she had to set her own boundaries and let him set his own. And they both had to live with the consequences of their own wants. That way, no one feels resentful. Sometimes we think other people are the reason we aren't happy or the reason we feel lonely. And sometimes we think we're responsible for other people feeling happy or feeling lonely, when neither of those are true. We are only responsible for ourselves, for our own wants, for our own feelings, and our own happiness. Every other person is responsible for their own. No matter the situation, if you stay centered and focused on doing what's right in your heart for you, then the others around you sort of have permission to do the same. My challenge to you today is to manage no one's feelings but your own, even just for today. Selflessness is sometimes manipulation, just as selfishness is sometimes self-love. If you really think about that for a minute, you may want to replay it. It's very true. You have to do what's right in your heart and be the best you can be and make the best decision for yourself without trying to manage the other people in your life. They may resist your boundaries, but that is an issue for them, not you. Take control of what you can control, and that's you. Share this with 3 people who inspire you already. I love you guys. I'll talk to you in a few days. Don't forget to subscribe and share with your friends, because we're just going to keep going bigger and better places together, and I love that about us. Talk to you in a few days.